Alright, let's move on to the second half of the season. We feel that the second half of the season is just complete, utter chaos. I don't know about you, but I personally feel that we were a mid-table club in the second half of the season, considering that we lost 8 times in the league. We didn't even fight in the Carabao Cup final. I think the only good side about the second half of the season is that we gave it our all in the knockout stages for Europa League, except for the second leg at Atletico. Other than that, not really impressed with the second half of the season. On top of that, the only thing I was really happy was the fact that Wenger announced his retirement. Regardless of whether it was to do with his personal choice or whether it had to do with him being sacked internally, I think that it was the right time. It was bound to happen, but we never expected it to happen this soon.
It was a disaster in the third round of the FA Cup, losing to Nottingham Forest. I mean, that's the first time Arsenal fans ever lost. Third round, that's the first 4-2. I think that was completely unacceptable. We lost 8 games in the second half of the season. If you compare it with the rest of the clubs in EPL, although we finished 6th in terms of away performance, we're actually ranked 8th, even behind Burnley and Leicester. Our home record for the season is 15 wins, 2 draws, and 2 losses. It's the complete opposite for our away record. Our away record is 4 wins, 4 draws, and 11 losses. So it just goes to show 7 of those come in the second half of the season. At home, we actually ranked 2nd, tied. Our record is the same as Manchester United, and we even beat them in terms of goal difference. So we are 2nd, only to Man City. However, if you look at the away record with the 4-4 and 11, we're a mid-table club at best. 4 wins away the whole season. That's not even acceptable. This is a season that, although we managed to get to the Carabao Cup final, we knew it was going to be a long shot against Manchester City to beat them. We had a good run in the Europa League until we met, Atletico Madrid, and we really didn't take our chances in the first leg. We gave it away. We were up 1-0 against 10 men, and we didn't even create enough chances. Specifically, that game sums up the whole season because we attacked, but there was no final ball or no final finish, and Atletico attacked once and they scored a goal and tied the game. It's ridiculous. That's essentially...
And don't forget, that goal was a defensive error. As a matter of fact, both legs in the Atletico game, the goals could have been avoided.
Yeah, exactly. These type of mistakes, we've been doing it for the past 4 years at least. Even though we've had good defenders, there's just something wrong with the system. Bellerin seems to be on the decline. Mustafi seems to be on the decline. Koscielny even seems to be on the decline. Maybe that's to do with injury. The only one holding up right now is Monreal. Everyone else, Mertesacker is going to leave. We still Gabriel, man. So we are completely short, especially for right back. It's not acceptable. Upside is that Caleb Chambers and Rob Holding, at least they look like they're going to be someone acceptable to be played. I think defense is something that's really difficult. You need to have a good set of 4 players that have played with each other for at least 2, 3, 4 years. If it's not good 4, at least 3 players out of the 4. You can slot 1 player in and alright, the system still works. Right now, the system, for some reason, still not able to defend properly. Even when we switched to a 4-3-3 or the 5-4-1, it worked against stronger opponents, but even then, after a while, the opponents figured out how to beat us. That's why we reverted the usual 4-2-3-1. Whenever we play that formation, our defense is just completely disappeared. We don't even have a defense, essentially. We just have an offense made of defenders. That's all we have. So yeah, and then we lost the away leg against Atletico, and that was just heartbreaking. I think neither of us wanted to do videos because of that game. It was just like, why do we watch this? If Arsenal doesn't even try to play properly, right? It's just so disappointing. So who's your MVP of the season?
MVP in terms of the least crap player.
In terms of most non-crappy player of the season, yeah.
In terms of effectiveness, in terms of being efficient, and if we don't have to consider a player that played throughout the whole of the season, then I'm gonna have to stick with Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang because he contributed 14 goals and assists within 14 games.
Yeah.
You cannot argue with him not being effective because as a striker, you're supposed to contribute regardless of whether goals or assists. And considering that he did play on the wing, he didn't just play number 9, he also played in the wing, made a couple of good assists. For 14 games and 14 contributions, I think that he did his job considering that he came in the middle of the season when there was an exodus. A lot of uncertain things were happening in Arsenal. Also, not to mention, we know according to stats that when players come in the winter transfer window, they always have a harder time trying to adjust because in the middle of the season, they have to get used to the intensity of the league that's already in the middle, halfway. For Aubameyang to just break that barrier and do what he did, I'm gonna give him the MVP.
Alright, good point, but my MVP is actually Granit Xhaka. The reason why is because he's actually played 47 games. So essentially he's been quite solid for us the whole season, very silently. You look at the stats, the most number of passes for the Arsenal team, second highest in the whole of EPL. He has 7 assists and 1 goal. Apart from that, he actually has the highest number of tackles at 76 for the team. That's higher than Bellerin and Monreal. And I think it's understated, you know, his defensive work. Although he got 9 yellow cards throughout the season, I think it's kind of warranted, especially the kind of position he's playing. He needs to break the play, right? And a lot of the times, it's been timely. He, for me, has been the MVP this season.
Yeah. So in terms of your least valuable player,
my least valuable player, it's a tough one because I think it's between either Bellerin or Mustafi.
oof, that's like a championship
So
battle.
for me, I think it's been Bellerin. He as well has been playing 47 games but literally has nothing to show for it, and he's the kind of player that was on such a high, world best by some. You compare him to now and it's just like nowhere, cannot be compared, the player he is now to the player he was 2 seasons ago. His crosses are terrible, he can't even beat his man, tracking back, following your man, making sure that you don't lose him. All of this, it's just been really bad.
Really bad. It's the hair. It's the goddamn hair.
the hair.
It slowed him down. It's added like 20 pounds on his head.
So yeah, for me, it has to be Bellerin.
I'm gonna say that the worst player was Mustafi, simply because not only did he make a lot of defensive errors, but those defensive errors costed us the games that were highly important, such as the Atletico first leg, Carabao Cup final. There were so many defensive errors that were at high stakes that if we had avoided them, we could have actually brought some silverware. For me, I think that Mustafi was worse than Bellerin, and considering that Mustafi is older than Bellerin, I feel that we brought him in simply because of what he did in La Liga. He was fantastic, and when he came in, he was unstoppable. As a matter of fact, remember when he came in the first season, he had a good record where we never lost a game until he got injured, and then we started losing, and then when he came back, you know, it was back to winning again. But now it seems like his performances just declined as much as Bellerin, or even worse. So I suggest that in the coming season, considering that we already letting go of Mertesacker and we already let go of Paulista, we need to bring in a quality defender to pair up with either Mustafi or to pair up with somebody else. Koscielny is not getting any younger. He's only about a year or 2 years younger than Mertesacker, and we can't expect much from Koscielny considering that he's also getting prone to injuries. I feel that the central pairing needs a leader who we can control the entire back four. You need a captain. Whoever we get in the coming season has to be far more experienced than the current central pairings that we know that we're holding. Mavropanos, they depend on players like Mustafi, Mertesacker, and Koscielny for leadership. But if you don't have great leaders, not to say that they're not good leaders, but to say that we don't have great leaders, how do you expect us to curate oncoming future captains, possible captains for central pairing?
The fact that both of us think that the worst players of the season are defenders just goes to show what kind of problems Arsenal has defensively, right?
Bad.
There just seems to be some sort of communication and trust issues. They seem to be putting the blame on others, right?
Yeah.
Whenever something bad happens, they put the blame on someone else. Whether it's Koscielny or Petr Cech or Spina or even midfielders like Ozil, you know, see Bellerin getting pissed off at Ozil getting pissed off at Bellerin, you know, going saying
you talk too
much, right?
You talk too much.
Exactly. So these are signs of players who can't accept the kind of responsibility they have, and they're not good enough. These players just never felt the need to step up or improve themselves, you know, hit the gym and, you know, try to be better than who they already are.
Yeah, I think pretty much in the upcoming season for the summer transfer, if we're gonna have an exodus, we need to do something about the defense. And if we actually don't fix that area, there's no point of playing the season, because we might have already a good firepower. But what's the point of having all these cannons, yet your defense, your walls are just horrible? Anything can penetrate it. Even the fact that we can lose to teams that were fighting for relegation, such as Stoke in the beginning of the first half of the season. Again, if we don't do something about the defense, there's no point of playing the rest of the season, considering that we also have Europa League. Europa League, remember, has 2 extra games more than Champions League. It might not seem a lot, but
the timing of the games, it's not good because you always have Sunday games, right? So it's never been good.
Those 2 extra games are the round of 32. You're gonna play it in the second half of the season, and once you play it in the second half of the season, you're gonna be fatigued, higher prone to injuries. Defense, must have. We need world-class center backs.
Alright, so I think that's enough of the ranting.
Don't worry, we have more content despite the fact that the season is over. We're gonna update you guys about the World Cup, the players that are gonna play. We're also gonna update you about the Arsenal gossip, like who's gonna come in. So stick around. Thanks for watching. Leave a comment below and let us know what you think. If you liked the video, please don't forget to subscribe. We'll see you soon. Peace.